In the earliest days of the Kingdom of Galuh, long before the land was fully unified, a staff was said to have been born from the sacred forests of Mount Sawal, crafted not by mortal hands, but by ascetics under divine instruction. Known as the Staff of Sanghyang Tapak, its wood was taken from a tree that stood at the meeting point of three ley lines, where energies of the heavens, earth, and underworld merged. The tree, said to be struck by lightning 3 times, glowed in the dark and bled sap that healed wounds. The staff's core was carved from this miraculous wood, and its surface was adorned with golden pegs, paku emas, said to hold blessings from the gods. At its tip was a spiraling symbol representing the Tapak Sanghyang, the divine footprint of a celestial being. The staff stood taller than most men and radiated a faint warmth. It became known not only as a tool of power, but as a bridge between mortal rulers and the divine realm. According to tradition, the staff was first bestowed upon Prabhu Wretikandayun, the founder of the Kingdom of Galuh. He received it after a long meditation retreat at the sacred source of the Sitandui River, where he was visited in a vision by an ancestral Naga spirit. In return for his humility and vision for a just kingdom, the spirit granted him the staff as a seal of divine rule. From that moment, the staff became a symbol of rightful kingship, carried only by those deemed spiritually pure and politically just. It was said to glow when in the hands of a true ruler, and grow cold or crack when wielded by the unworthy. Over time, it became as feared as it was revered. Its creation marked not just the beginning of a kingdom, but the fusion of nature, spirit, and sovereignty in one divine object. Throughout Galuh's golden age, the Staff of Sanghyang Tapak was carried by only a select few kings, those who not only inherited the throne, but proved themselves in wisdom and devotion. After Wretikandayun, it was passed on to his son, Rahiang Mandiminyak, who used the staff in ceremonial rites to invoke the protection of the ancestors and the favor of Dewata. Rahiang Mandiminyak would often retreat to sacred groves near the Sipaku River, where he meditated with the staff planted firmly in the ground, believing it helped amplify his connection to the unseen world. Under his rule, the staff became not just a royal symbol, but a tool of spiritual governance, used during temple inaugurations, seasonal festivals, and judicial verdicts. His successor, Bratasenawa, also bore the staff but with a more militaristic application. During internal conflict with rival factions loyal to the old Tarumanagara line, Bratasenawa carried the staff into negotiation camps and peace ceremonies, where it served as a divine oath-bearer. Breaking a vow sworn upon the staff was believed to bring fatal curses. There were kings, however, who chose not to wield it. These rulers were either afraid of its spiritual weight or found themselves unworthy in its presence. Chronicles speak of one pretender who tried to seize it during a coup. Upon touching the staff, he fell ill for 7 days and bled from his palms, an omen said to be the mark of the staff rejecting him. This sacred lineage of bearers reinforced the idea that the staff chose its master. Kings who failed in virtue or spirit often found themselves mysteriously unable to lift it or found it inexplicably lost, only to reappear after their deaths. The Staff of Sanghyang Tapak was never considered merely ornamental. It was believed to be infused with powerful magical and spiritual properties, channeled through both its golden inlays and the sacred wood from which it was made. Sages of the time believed it was a vessel of both protection and revelation. When planted into the earth during rituals, the staff was said to calm storms, purify cursed lands, and summon ancestral spirits. In times of plague or natural disaster, it was brought out from the royal shrine and held aloft at temple heights, drawing in healing energy from the heavens. Many claimed to hear chanting in the wind when it was used this way, though no mouth moved. Another of its powers was the illumination of truth. When used in trials or royal judgments, the staff would glow dimly if someone was lying in its presence. In one famous case, a noble accused of treason stood before the staff, only to collapse weeping before a word was spoken, later confessing to conspiring against the king. It was also believed to hold protective enchantments. During one of the skirmishes on the borders of Galuh, a warrior claimed that when the king held the staff, arrows veered away from him mid-flight. Another tale tells of the staff repelling evil spirits attempting to curse the royal bloodline, sending them fleeing into the wilderness with wailing cries. Shamans and spiritual elders always warned that misuse of the staff could bring spiritual backlash. A wielder not in harmony with the divine energies would suffer visions, madness, or spontaneous bleeding. The staff demanded reverence, not fear, but purity of intent. The Staff of Sanghyang Tapak is not only remembered for its role in governance and ritual, but for the myths and mystical tales woven into Galuh's folklore. Over generations, these stories shaped the staff's reputation as a living relic of divine origin, one with its own will, mood, and destiny. One of the most enduring legends tells of a time when the staff was stolen by a rebel prince, exiled from the court. The moment he crossed the sacred river boundary, the skies darkened unnaturally, and thunder cracked even without clouds. Days later, he was found unconscious near the riverbanks, the staff floating beside him, completely unharmed. His hair had turned white, and he could no longer speak, believed to be the result of divine punishment. Another story speaks of a time when Galuh faced severe drought. The king at the time carried the staff into the sacred grove of Siberui, a place feared and avoided by most. There, he planted the staff into the dry earth and meditated for 7 days without food or water. On the 8th day, rain began to fall, and the nearby springs flowed with water as sweet as nectar. The people believed the staff had spoken to the sky. It is also said that the staff could reveal one's fate if touched during a specific lunar phase. Warriors seeking purpose, royals questioning their path, or even commoners in desperate need of answers would pray for the chance to be granted an audience with the staff. Some fainted upon touching it, claiming they saw glimpses of their future. Others simply wept in silence. But perhaps the most famous legend is the disappearance of the staff. After the death of a virtuous king, the staff reportedly vanished from its resting shrine, leaving behind only a single golden peg glowing faintly on the altar. It was believed that the staff had returned to the spirit realm, awaiting the next worthy ruler of Galuh reborn. The disappearance of the Staff of Sanghyang Tapak marked a turning point in Galuh's spiritual and political narrative. Though the kingdom continued, a sense of divine absence lingered. Priests and mystics interpreted its vanishing as a sign that the age of spiritually guided rule was ending, and that future kings must now find wisdom from within, not from relics. For decades, the royal court kept an empty shrine in the palace where the staff once stood. Rituals were still conducted in its name, and new rulers were symbolically crowned in the presence of the unseen staff. The golden peg left behind was encased in crystal and displayed in the royal hall as a sacred reminder of lost divine favor. In the centuries that followed, seekers and pilgrims would venture into the wild regions of Mount Sawal and the sacred river valleys, hoping to find a sign of the staff's return. Some claimed to see its light glowing in the mist at dawn. Others reported dreams in which the staff spoke to them, giving cryptic guidance or warnings. There are even tales that a new Sanghyang Tapak would one day reappear, not as a weapon, but as a living spirit who would rise in human form to restore balance and justice. This figure, sometimes called the Prabhu Purnajati, is said to carry the essence of all past kings and the original energy of the staff itself. Today, the legacy of the staff lives on in ritual dances, symbolic sculptures, and songs sung by Sundanese storytellers. Many believe the staff is still hidden somewhere in the sacred mountains, invisible to the impure, waiting for a time of great need. In modern times, the Staff of Sanghyang Tapak has taken on new meaning, not only as a mythical object, but as a symbol of integrity, justice, and cultural identity among the Sundanese people. Historians, anthropologists, and artists alike have tried to reconstruct what the staff might have looked like, often blending traditional accounts with spiritual insight. While no physical artifact has ever been conclusively identified as the original staff, several replicas exist in museums and temples across West Java. These ceremonial staffs are not believed to possess the original's power, but they serve as cultural beacons, reminding the people of their ancestral connection to the divine and to nature. Scholars have debated whether the staff was ever real, or a powerful metaphor for the moral compass of leadership. Regardless of its physical existence, its impact is unquestionable. It helped shape the spiritual governance of early Galuh and became a lens through which kings were judged. In recent years, traditional ceremonies honoring the kings of Galuh sometimes include symbolic invocations of the staff, with elders placing a carved replica into the earth and reciting ancient prayers in Sundanese and Old Javanese. The act is seen as a ritual call for wisdom, unity, and balance in a time of modern disconnection. Ultimately, the Staff of Sanghyang Tapak continues to inspire tales, research, and reverence. Whether viewed as a magical relic or a metaphorical beacon, its legacy endures as a sacred part of the Kingdom of Galuh's soul, its divine light flickering quietly in the collective memory of the Sundanese heartland.